Hi everyone, welcome back to depression-youarenotalone.com. Uh, Usually Shannon is with us, but she is not with us today because I believe she's out shopping. Shopping for paintings, I think.
For paintings?
Yeah, she bought this one painting. She asked me to hang it. She goes, "Which side, should we put up?" I said, "Okay, it really doesn't matter. It's just a splatter. It just splatters." I don't think people make any money doing this. Do you remember years ago we had? Oh, and behind the scenes is John, and my name is Lou. Forget to introduce us for those of you watching for the first time. But you remember that French guy years ago where he drew, where he painted? It was 3 lines.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember his
It
name.
was like 3 lines,
Yeah.
different colored lines. Just that's it, 3 lines. Boy, that must have taken years. Picasso would have gone. Holy hell, that's
Well, compared to that, Picasso was complicated.
yeah. Wow, I couldn't do that. Anyway, today's the day before Father's Day. Drinking my water. Also, remember the commercial, the beer commercial, where most interesting man in the world. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
I don't always drink beer, but when I do, I drink whatever.
Whatever the hell it was.
Shannon's version would be, I don't always drink beer because sometimes I drink scotch, right? Or vodka,
Or that other can stuff.
or this, or that, or that, or this, and then. Tell you one thing, I think she's keeping the economy going. Anyway, as I mentioned, today's the day before Father's Day. So we want to give a shout out to the dads out there. Hope you guys have a great day tomorrow. And dads, these days, it's not dads from 40 years ago, right? A lot of them are the ones raising the kids,
Yeah.
taking care of the kids. It's just the way it is. Somebody's got to do it. Sometimes mom has the opportunities, or sometimes dad is better at it than mom. It is what it is.
Sometimes there is no mom.
Sometimes there is no mom, so whatever reason. Shannon is, as I said, she's not here today. She's out shopping. She might even pop in. She's going to see her dad soon. She didn't get to see him now because he's out of state, but she's going to go see her dad and her mom. So we want to tell the dads out there, hey, hope you guys have a great day tomorrow. And then enjoy your Home Depot and Lowe's gift cards, I'm sure, right? That you're going to get. But I want to talk about something today, suicide. The reason I want to talk about it is because I was bored the other day. I think it was Hulu. I was watching Sequest. Do you remember that show, Sequest?
Yeah.
With Roy Scheider.
Yeah, the submarine show.
Yeah, and I saw that years ago. I totally forgot about it. And the dogs are barking, so Shannon's probably home. So I'm like, oh wow, Sequest, I forgot all about that show. So I started watching it. It wasn't the greatest show in the world. Do you remember it?
Oh, yeah, I used to watch it all the time.
Yeah, I watched it too. I enjoyed it because I liked Roy Scheider. Roy Scheider was a star in it, so I'm like, yeah, let me start watching this. And then
Yeah, and then he left and Michael Ironside replaced him.
it was only on for 3 seasons.
Yeah.
It was 57 episodes total, I think. I think they did. And then it was canceled. But the reason I want to bring that up is what I like to do sometimes when I see a show, I'll look up what are the actors doing today, whatever. And there was the young kid on the show. Remember the kid?
Yeah, the computer genius.
The computer genius. Jonathan Brandis was the actor's name. And I remember there was something about that kid. I didn't remember what it was, so I looked him up. So this is where the suicide comes in. This young man actually committed suicide. And then I remembered reading something about that years ago. And it started coming back to me, and I got intrigued. I wanted to look up more information. The reason I want to talk about this is because we talk about sometimes about the signs, right? Talked about the signs are there many times with suicide. So I started reading up on him. He was a young boy. He started off as a model, child model, good-looking kid, really good-looking kid. He was on soap opera as a kid. I think it was One Life to Live or something like that.
I don't know.
I don't watch soap operas, but he was on a soap opera, and then he got this gig on Sequest, and apparently, from what I read too, he was like a like a child star, especially with the young girls. Because you know, young girls, they're just absolutely insane.
They're past insane.
They're crazy. I'm sorry, but you know, if Jennifer Aniston or somebody, a beautiful actress comes to my house, I'm not going to pass out. I'm not going to start screaming and running around and crying, and I'm not going to soil myself. But that's what they do. They're insane. This kid, I mean, he couldn't like go anywhere without security, anywhere, because he was that popular. I mean, like I said, he was a good-looking kid. So anyway, the show's canceled, and he did a few things here, a few things there, but he was getting to the point where his career wasn't going anywhere. It was pretty much stalled out. And that happens a lot with child actors, right? They're cute when they're little, and then cuteness goes away, and
nobody wants anything to do with it.
nobody wants them. Ron Howard did it right.
Oh, yeah.
Because Ron Howard was cute as hell when he was little. That cuteness disappeared pretty quick. And his brother, I don't know if you've seen his brother. He's an actor too.
Oh, yeah, he's been
Yeah.
doing stuff.
Yeah,
He was in...
all kinds of stuff.
What was that, Flipper?
His brother was in all
It was a
kinds of
General
stuff.
Ben. One of those shows he was
Yeah.
in.
So Ron Howard, yes, let me start direct. Let me get away from the camera, behind it.
Yeah, so Opie Cunningham did
Opie
good.
Cunningham, yeah. So anyway, this kid's career was not going anywhere. Now, he started to drink heavily and told people he was going to kill himself. Now, we talk about the signs are there. That's a pretty big sign. Started to drink heavily, which was out of character for him, wasn't normal, and actually verbalized the fact that he was going to he wanted to kill, he was going to kill himself.
You'd think somebody would pick up on it?
Well, the end result, November 11, 2003, he was found in his LA apartment, hanged. He was rushed to the hospital and died the next day from the injuries sustained from hanging himself. 27 years old. 27. Now, I've talked many times about when celebrities commit suicide, or you always would hear in documentaries and whatnot that, oh, we knew there was something, we knew there was something. Well, in this case, this young man verbalized it, that he was going to kill himself. And guess what? He killed himself. Now, I don't know all the details of why he wasn't under supervision, why there were people around him 24/7, why they didn't, I don't know all of that. But I know he said he was going to do it, and he did it. He did it at 27.
Well, you don't forget, a lot of these celebrities, when they lose it, and they lose their
They lose a lot
contracts,
of friends, too.
They lose a lot of friends. A lot
Because-
of them all end up with family.
A lot of them weren't really friends, obviously. The beginning, right? They
Yeah.
weren't friends anyway.
No.
They weren't friends. Like all you rappers out there with your entourage. Oh, all these people milking off of you, milking you and milking you. You can't go to a club without 40 people around you. All, milking you. And then when you're no longer relevant, where did they go? Where did they go? The IRS is knocking on your door because that's usually where they get nailed for tax evasion. But I just want to bring this up because we talk so much about the signs in suicide. And after the fact, people are regret that they didn't do anything, or they knew they should have done something, could have. This young man, Jonathan Brandis, said he was going to kill himself, verbalized it, and killed himself at 27. So that's real. It's real, and I think it was worth mentioning, giving that example. 27-year-old man, young man, good-looking kid, career wasn't going anywhere. Okay, you know what? You do other things.
Well, like some have.
Many have. Many have. You do other things. You had to be a bright kid, right?
Well, yeah, obviously.
Bright kid, smart, and it's not everybody that, oh, things aren't going well for me, so I'm going to take my life. There had to be other issues there as well, right, to drive them to that. So I think it's important to bring up these examples when you talk about this stuff, because a lot of people don't want to talk about it, don't want to hear it, bury things, Because if we don't talk about things, guess what? They're going to go away. No, they're not.
No, it's only a phase.
Yeah, but if you don't talk about things and share, things don't go away by not talking about them. They have to be talked about. You have to talk about them. One person might hear this and say, wow, that's my son. That's my brother, my sister, my daughter, my wife, my husband.
Well,
These results happen.
look at some of these movies where they do something as kids and nobody talks about anything until eventually it comes back to bite them in the ass. There's a few movies like that.
Because it always seems with a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people, by not talking about things, it's better. And unfortunately, there are people that do want to talk about it and they get pushed away. And sometimes you got to fight. You got to hang in there, hang in there, hang in there. They may try to push you away and don't allow it, so you don't have regrets.
Well, sometimes you end up talking to a stranger about it.
And if that helps, that's great.
You
You're
end up
doing
in-
something.
Yeah, you end up in a bar or something, and you end up talking to a total stranger about it because your family just doesn't want to listen.
I know, because when I had the bar, that's what I used to do. It was like therapy sessions I used to have.
Well, that's why bartenders are also known as like psychiatrists.
Right, but I wasn't a bartender. I was the owner of the bar. But people would come to me. They would come to me and ask for help, and I would talk to them. One of my bartenders asked me jokingly one time. She goes, "How much do you charge per session?" Because I had the patience to listen to people because I knew they were hurting. I knew they had issues. Now, if they had a bitch session, they wanted to bitch about their wife or their other. No, I didn't have patience for that. You know, I don't want to. That's not my problem. But there are a lot of people. I mentioned this before too. People in their 40s, 50s, 60s, they have issues. They're going back to when they were 13, 12, 10.
Yeah.
The issues are going back there, to there. And they've never gotten help.
No.
And so many is the stigma. Psychiatrist, I'm not going to a psychiatrist or a therapist. I'm not doing that. Yeah, but you've been suffering for 40 years.
Because they've been taught not to seek help.
Yeah, and they're embarrassed. It's an embarrassment. You know, but then I've told them, but you've been suffering for 40 years. You're still talking about something from when you were 12 years old. You're 50 or 55, whatever. So getting help, I think, is a good idea.
Yeah,
Because
a lot of
not
cases-
doing it, anything is not a good idea.
A lot of cases, though, whatever happens just festers and festers. Eventually,
Yeah, and then, when
something's going to give.
it helps too, I think, when you have people around you that encourage you to get help. That's a big deal when people encourage you. Or when people say, I'll go with you. I'll go with you. We talked about this a lot. We talk about this a lot. In so many episodes about helping someone else, not curing them or solving the problem. Like so many parents, like I've mentioned this too, so many parents have that issue with their kids. That they're the parents, so they're going to solve the problem, but they're not qualified to. And the kid sometimes doesn't want to talk to the parent about these things. Needs to talk to a stranger.
Most of the time.
Well, of course. Even with spouses. You know, it's easier to go talk to a therapist or a psychiatrist than to your husband or your wife. Especially if your husband's watching football or something like that, and she's pouring out her heart, and he's like, uh-huh,
Yeah. Pass me the
uh-huh.
beer.
And then ask, what did I just say? What? Did you say something? That's not helpful, right?
Look, they scored a touchdown.
That's not helpful. That's why I always encourage people to get help. Go get professional help, because the story I just told about this young man at 27, hung himself in his apartment and verbalized the fact that he was going to kill himself.
And
Verbalized.
he's not the only former child star that did it.
Yeah, and so many drugs,
There were quite a few.
alcohol.
Yeah.
Well, so many
They
of them,
committed suicide.
they're being used, right? They were being used. They were on top of the world as children.
Then they crashed.
And then, all of a sudden, wait, what happened? What happened? Nobody cares about me anymore. And so many. See their mug shots. Their mug shots.
Yep.
Good kids, just put in a situation where they're really being used, right? It's about making money off of them. And then when you don't need them anymore, no thank you, bye-bye.
No, that's how Hollywood works. That's how
That's
it
how
always
everything.
works.
That's how pretty much everything works. That's That's why you have to look out for each other. We have to look out for one another and look out for ourselves. Or else we're screwed. And it's not being selfish to look out for yourself. You know, especially when you're a parent, here we are Father's Day tomorrow, when you're a parent saying, I can't look out for myself because I have kids that are counting on me. That's the main reason you have to look out for yourself. To be stronger so you're a better parent. So you're happier. Because if you're happy, your kids feed off of that, then they're happy. If you're miserable, no, don't go near mom, don't go near dad. Oh, we can't count on them. Don't do anything with her or him because she's in having one of those days. That's why you have to look out for yourself. And it's not selfish. It's irresponsible not to, in my opinion. So do you have anything you want to talk about? Any examples of anything you want to talk about?
Not really. At least I can't think of anything. Massive brain fart.
You know, these things came to mind too because as I mentioned last episode, I've been going through some depression. I don't know if it has to do with the move, you know, but that happens anyway. And these thoughts come to mind. I tweeted yesterday. I did a tweet yesterday on our Twitter page about why I talk about politics, the absurdities of politics, and so many things, because when you've been battling a mental illness for so many years, you know what you've been through, and you want better for other people. You know, so you hope that you can say things that'll help someone. Not trying to, you know, save the world
Yeah, it's too late for that.
or anything like that. Is just trying to help one person, because I've always asked myself, is this it? And during those days of my low points, I used to ask myself all the time, is this it? And I believe what helps is trying to help other people from your experiences. Because that's what we're supposed to do as humans, right? We learn, we pass our knowledge on to others, our experiences, and hopefully someone benefits from what we went through, good or bad, the good and the bad. And yeah, there's bad because that's life. There's always bad in life. Hopefully the good days outnumber the bad days. Hopefully.
And you can't get the bad days get to you.
Well, no, you gotta bounce back, especially because you deserve it.
You got to analyze the bad times, deal with them.
Yeah, and in research, and you know, we live in a time where you can research anything, and there are people still that have a kid has issues, whatever, and a lot of parents don't find out what's going on, don't even look into it.
A lot of these
When you
parents,
can.
A lot of these parents had parents that were the same way when they were kids.
And these days, and not these days, I don't mean just now, for years and years and years, everybody's so involved in their own personal lives. Even a lot of parents. There are still parents that, hey, my kids first. And there are parents that, no, me first. Like that lady who, when she, a few years back, she suffocated both of her kids in the car because she went out drinking to a bar and left them in the car.
Yeah.
And they suffocated. That's a great mom. I mean, these things, of course, that's an extreme. That is an extreme.
There's kids being left in hot cars every day.
And there are kids neglected at home.
Oh.
At home, in their own home. Go in the freezer. You know how to use a microwave.
You got chips, you got crackers, you got all kinds of other garbage.
Go in your room and eat. Play your video games, leave me alone. And, you know, that's not all parents, of course, but there are enough like that. And it's sad. It's sad because sometimes the results are Jonathan Brandis. Not saying his parents weren't good parents. I don't know that. I'm not saying that. Could have been great parents.
And stuff like that can still happen no matter what.
But he wasn't, you know, he was a man. He was a young man. He was 27 years old. He wasn't a kid when he committed suicide. He was a man. And it's hard.
Kids can have garbage parents, and they grow up to realize it, and, you know, they deal with it. They're not going to be like their parents.
I have known so many parents that are great parents who had horrible parents.
Yeah.
I have known so many that vice versa. Great parents, and they turned out to be the biggest pieces of crap.
Yeah.
It's like a crapshoot, man. It's like going to the casino. You don't know what you're going to get, but you got to try to do it right. At least try to do it right. You know, when you got your redneck dads, it's Father's Day tomorrow, but I'm sorry, when you got a redneck dad or an ignorant dad who's got a son who's battling depression, who cries, he doesn't know why he's crying, and that moron dad will smack his kid and say, "There's no crying here, boy. We ain't got no crying in this house." Or a son that's gay. And, you know, like I said before, oh, no son of mine's going to be gay. Well, if your son's gay, he's gay. He's gay. He was born gay. Should you care about him less? You know, getting him a gun isn't the solution, which for a lot of them is, right? You gotta go out and hunt and kill something before you're 10. Be a man.
Oh, yeah.
Be a man. Well, maybe being a man for someone like that is being a better dad and being a better husband. Not killing things. That doesn't make you a man. I'm being sounds like I'm being a little negative right now, but we don't have to sit here and discuss great parents that are busting their butts for their kids and doing everything right for their family and working hard. Yeah, they exist. They're doing what they're supposed to do. We have to talk about those that are not, because there are consequences to other people. You want to be a lousy dad? Lousy mom? Oh, so what? Who cares? So what? Who cares? Well, your kid now has to live the rest of their lives knowing that.
Well, look at all these kids where their father's taken off. The mother's no good. The grandmothers are raising them.
Yeah. I mean, athletes, grown men, thanking their grandma for raising them. Where was mom? And that's not a color race thing. That happens in a lot of races. It's people having children that should not have had children, but then have more. You're irresponsible. You don't know how to raise the ones you have, so have more. This is the answer to a lot of things with a lot of people, like gun control, like we talked about. We have school shootings, whatever. So you know what? More guns. So if you're a drug addict, I guess the answer to being a drug addict is do more drugs. That's the answer?
Yeah, that works.
Do more of the wrong to solve the problem. There's such a lack of common sense in this world. And then people pay the consequences. Others. When we come back, I want to talk about something else. Immigration. Not necessarily immigration, but dealing with those that do not speak English and how there's so much hatred. And I can tell you my experience, I don't have hatred towards those people, but towards anyone really. But I want to discuss that because sometimes I understand the frustration because I also experience it. And I'll tell you some stories how I've been frustrated dealing with people that cannot communicate with. But I'm not a hateful person, so I can see a hateful person easily snapping, and how they handle it and how they feel about things. So we'll be back in just a split second. We're going to take a break, and I think Shannon walked in the door, so I want to see where she spent our money. We'll be back shortly.
On paintings.
Yeah. Welcome back, everyone, to depression-youarenot-alone.com. Just see my pineapple. Pineapple.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. I grow these in a big pot. I don't know if anybody, for those of you that aren't aware, it's very easy to grow. You grow a pineapple. They're super sweet and juicy because they ripen on the plant. You break the crown off when you open it. I put it in a pot and keep the soil moist, and then you'll have another plant and you'll have another pineapple. Problem is, it takes about 2 years.
And it needs sun.
It needs some sun. Doesn't need too much, but sun and water. Yeah, but these, when they ripen on a plant, are super juicy. Not like the ones you buy in the store. They're hard as a rock. So I want to talk about immigration kind of immigration. Talking about the hatred that's developed with Americans towards foreigners here. Now, I'm not saying it's justified, but I think you need to look into things and see why. Why is there this hatred? Why? I can tell you so many experiences I've had that have frustrated me. I speak 3 languages. I have had to speak Spanish with people because if I didn't, I learned Spanish. It's not my language, but I learned it out of necessity, living in South Florida. And there are times I have to speak Spanish because there are people that just don't know how or just don't want to. And it becomes frustrating. I'll give you certain examples. For example, my doctor's office I used to go to by my house, which I hated that place. As many bilingual people as we have in South Florida, right?
Yeah,
So many
tons.
bilingual people. No, they don't hire those people. They would only hire people that don't speak a word of English. No English whatsoever. I'm sitting there. Now, the doctors did. Doctors spoke English and Spanish. I'm sitting there, this older gentleman and his wife, he is so frustrated because he's trying to ask questions about his insurance. And the receptionist there, not a word of English. So the man's frustrated. This is important to him. He's at a doctor's office. He can't communicate with the people working there. I went in. They did tests on me and stuff. Said, "Oh, you might have a fatty liver," which I didn't. But the lady doing all the tests and stuff, not a word of English. Not a word of English. Not even hello. Okay? And then frustrated that you don't speak her language. And people get frustrated, of course. I can give so many examples. The roofers, when I had the roofs put on my house, a year and a half ago now, right?
Not one.
About a year and a half ago?
Yeah, about a year and a half ago.
Inspector comes over, because, when you're putting in a roof, there's several inspections at different stages. And the inspector I went outside to see if there was any problem. I'm just standing there. The inspector's trying to talk to the inspector, comes out to me and says, "You know what, they did not pass the inspection because of the flashing, the way they did it, whatever." He said, "I cannot talk to anyone here. No one here speaks a word of English. I can't talk to these people. No one speaks a word of English. Can you call them and see if you can get a foreman, a manager, or somebody?" I said, "Well, yeah, he's the foreman." He goes, "Oh, that guy, he doesn't speak a word of English. How can I tell these guys when they don't understand? There's no one here?" I said, "All right, I'll talk to them." So he would explain to me what the situation is, and then in Spanish I would have to explain to them. So one of these gentlemen, the foreman, was actually a really nice guy from Nicaragua. Not a word of English. Now, if the man had moved here 3 months ago, 6 months ago, understandable. Hey, the guy hasn't been here long, he can't speak English, of course. So I asked him in Spanish how long he's lived in the United States. And he told me, casi 15 años. 15 years he's lived in the United States. Not a word of English. Nothing, nada. Okay? 15 years.
Yeah.
I remember we would go to Maine many years, twice a year. In the summer, in the winter.
I think she's back.
Yeah, she's back. She's probably dropping things and whatever. So we would go to Maine twice a year. What I loved in the summer is at the hotel we would stay, housekeeping were high school girls, locals. So in the summer, when they're off for summer break, they would work at the hotel. And what was great about that is you'd ask these young ladies, "Hey, do you know a good place to eat or a place to go or things to go see?" They knew because they were born and raised there. Born and raised there, so they knew everything about the area. They can tell you what best restaurants, even restaurants that were far away, but where you got to go see this or you got to go see that. We went to Cadillac Mountain for my kids to go there in the winter because the girls recommended it, the young ladies working there. So we go there one year, I think it was the last time we went. It was no longer the locals working there. It was Hispanic ladies, you can tell, or Mexican or something like that. Just like that. Just like that from one year to the next. They were gone. It became frustrating because they wouldn't even want to look at you, talk to you, because they didn't speak a word of English. So are you going to ask them, hey, where can I go see this? No, that's done. That's over with. It's frustrating. I have no hatred towards those ladies. They're trying to earn a living. That's all they're trying to do. But it was really nice when you had locals working there. You can talk to them, get suggestions, ideas from them. That was done. No more. Now, for example, like I said, that gentleman, that older gentleman with his wife, trying to talk to them about his insurance at the doctor's office and could not communicate with anyone there. Does that bring on frustration? Yeah. It does, right? People get frustrated. Now, some people get frustrated. Some people are full of hatred already. So anything like that, forget it. But my suggestion, and we grew up in South Florida, experienced this. I remember the times in Miami, if you didn't speak Spanish, I remember going to a gas station. I told you this, but I was delivering a boat, remember?
Yeah.
I spoke to the guy behind the counter in English. He spoke to me in Spanish. I could have spoken to him in Spanish. Back then, my Spanish wasn't as great. I was still learning it, but I spoke to him in English, spoke to me in Spanish. He got pissed off that I didn't speak Spanish to me, threw the gum at me. Because that was the attitude. You speak Spanish here. This is Miami. I know this. If I moved to Germany right now, I would do everything I could to learn German.
You'd have no choice.
And I would do it because I want to communicate with people. I wouldn't go there with the attitude, no, you need to speak one of the languages I speak. I'm not going to speak yours, even though I live in your country. Not doing it. That's ridiculous.
Well, there are some countries in Europe that require any new, especially thing with these refugees now, not only from the Middle East, but from Ukraine. They got to learn the culture. They have to learn the language.
And it's to their advantage.
And some of these countries, they don't cluster them in one area where they can all get together and not learn the language. They spread them out.
But it's to their advantage too.
Of
But
course
you know
it
what?
is.
For a lot of Americans that are full of hatred for people that don't speak English, you know, like I went to Georgia. I think it was Brunswick, Georgia. I don't know if you remember, years ago. I was delivering the 2 boats that were then going to be shipped to California from Georgia
Right.
on the train. So I went with my friend Tom. Pulled over to the side of the road. There's an older gentleman and his wife selling peaches on the side of the road. White couple selling peaches. And that was before we had on our phone. We didn't have cell phones or anything back then. You know, where you just put in the address and it'll take you there. You had to go by addresses and figure it out and use a map.
Have a map.
And have an actual map. So I pull over, this older white gentleman and his wife, and I ask him, sir, can you tell me how to get to this address? And he just turns and goes, I don't know what the hell he was saying. Okay? And pointing and stuff. I did not understand a word of what he said. Tom, my friend Tom was with me, was cracking up. He's like, dude, what did he just say? I'm like, I have no idea. No idea what he just said. And that man, if you ask him, I'm sure he's going to say, I talk American. Right?
Of course.
I talk American. Because, you know, Americans don't like the people don't speak other languages, but then when you go to other countries on vacation or whatever, you expect them to speak your language. It's a circle. It's a circle of bullshit. Right? I talk American. So then I had to ask somebody else, obviously, because I was getting nowhere with this person. I asked this black gentleman on the side of the road, I said, hey, excuse me, can you tell me how to get here? He goes, yeah, just go down about 1.5 miles and you're going to make a right. And I'm like, okay, thank you. Thank you. But that white older guy, oh, by the way, he was selling peaches, and you should have seen those peaches.
Oh, yeah. Big,
Oh, my God.
Nice and ripe.
Not the peaches we buy in the store. Those are peaches you could just buy them and just eat them, and they're all juicy because they're ripened on a tree. You want peaches? Go to Georgia during season and buy them off these people selling them on the side of their
Yeah, you can't eat the peaches we sell here at the
best
store.
peaches you'll ever have. I'll give you another example of, and it's certain cultures that refuse to learn. For example, let's talk about Spanish. I'm not picking on anybody, it's just reality. If you get a Spanish person from Europe, from Spain, and they move here, I can guarantee you they are going to learn English.
They are.
They are going to learn English.
If they don't already know it because they learned it in the school probably.
And they probably already, or if they don't know English, they know French or
some other,
German
yeah.
or another language, because in Europe, That's what happens in school. You learn another language, like our cousins, and they learn other languages in school.
I think in some countries they're required to learn at least 2 languages.
It's to your advantage. What, Portugal had a prime minister? What, do you speak 5 languages? Guy was an a-hole.
He was.
But he spoke like 5 languages.
Even the guy that's the head of the UN, who's from Portugal, he speaks I think 3 or 4 languages.
Yeah. Here, no. You would talk American. But here's an advantage to knowing languages. You find yourself in a bind, whatever, you can speak that language. Now, it all depends on the country that people come from. And this is what creates this issue. There are a lot of people here that I've met because it's South Florida. It's a melting pot here. I'll give you an example of a melting pot here. Where there are people I've met from Mexico. Again, I can speak Spanish to them. Where I've asked them, how long have you been here? 8 years, 10 years, 15 years, 12 years, 20 years. Not a word of English. When they have to deal with Americans for a service, for a company, for a job, for whatever, they get frustrated. How do you not know how to speak English when you've been here all this time?
Or they bring in their kids to translate.
Now, here's an example. You want to talk about a melting pot? I just moved into this house, as those of you know. I had to call a cable company, Comcast. They had to run a new cable in here. Guy comes in, speaks great English with an accent, asked me questions, said, where would you like it, blah, blah, blah. Normal conversation. I said, oh, yeah, right here would be great because it's my office. But okay, yeah, it's better if I put it here. I'll put the modem here and all that. I asked him, where are you from? He goes, I'm Russian. I said, I'm Russian. I said, oh, great, okay. How long have you been here? He goes, 8 years. He learned English in those 8 years, I can guarantee you that, because he spoke very well.
Yeah.
Perfect. I've had that same cable company at my other house send people over where, okay, I need a UN translator here. This guy's working on my house and I can't talk to him. We cannot communicate. He's providing a service in my home. We cannot communicate. Because it's not even Spanish. It's another language that I don't speak. So now I'm totally screwed.
Right.
There's no getting around this. So, I've had 2 people work on this house so far that have been here from companies. The cable guy from Russia, spoke great English. And the other gentleman, the pool guy. So I had this new pool company recommended by the seller. So he said, I'm going to send a guy out Friday. Guy comes out, and I wanted to meet him because he's going to be my regular guy. So I started talking to him, and he's very embarrassed. He's like, I don't speak English very good. Don't speak English very good. So I asked him, you speak Spanish? And he said, no, from Brazil. But he was embarrassed that he couldn't communicate with me. So I said to him, eu também falo português. I told him, I speak Portuguese. He was just so relieved, because we were able to communicate. Now, he speaks Brazilian Portuguese, I speak continental Portuguese. From Portugal, he speaks Brazilian Portuguese, but we communicated. So I asked him, how long have you been here? 6 months, he said. 6 months. He said, but I'm going to night school to learn English. I'm going to night school to learn English.
Even though there's a big Brazilian community close by,
Yeah.
he's still going to learn the language.
He's going to night school to learn English. He's been here 6 months. The roofer from Nicaragua was here 15 years, not a word of English. In 15 years. The inspector could not talk to them. No communication on what's going on. It's not possible. Couldn't do it. Without me translating as the owner of the house.
And don't forget, a lot of the fault goes to the employers.
Now, let's say this to these immigrants that come over here. These gentlemen that worked on my roof, he was from Nicaragua. There were some Mexicans, and the other ones, I don't remember what country, Central America, or I think it was Central America. You want to talk about these guys busting their butts, doing a job in Florida sun on a roof, and they violated probably every OSHA regulation there is.
I would say pretty much.
I had roofs that I paid an arm and a leg for this reason, folks. Because of the angles on the roof, there were companies that wouldn't touch it. Remember?
Yeah, it's a weird group.
I had
now.
one guy came to my house to do an estimate. He didn't even turn his car off. Were you there for that one?
No, I wasn't there. For
He didn't
that.
turn the car off. He opens the door and tells me, "I'm sorry, we don't do these roofs." Closed the door and drove away. Now, this is a big job. Won't touch it. These gentlemen are working, putting in shingles, holding onto a rope. Do you remember that?
No harnesses, nothing.
No harnesses, nothing. Holding a rope with one hand, the other hand laying down the shingles and hammering them in place. In the heat. All of them. Every single one worked their asses off. And you know what? I gave them water. I asked them if they wanted water. They're like, no, everything's okay. At the end of the day, I'd ask them, you guys, you drink beer? You want some beer? And they're like, oh, well, okay. I said, well, what do you like? Oh, anything. I said, no, what do you like? And he said, oh, we like Modelo. I guess he didn't want to say because it's more expensive than cheapo beer.
Right.
I'm like, okay. I'd go buy him cases of beer. I'd only give it to him at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. You're not going to be up there with ropes, hanging off a rope. And, here, with a,
Swigging a beer. Yeah.
and with the third arm drinking a beer.
No.
I'm not, that's not going to happen. So I'd buy him a case of beer. They'd all sit outside, drink beer. And I'd tell them, hey, whatever's left, just, take it home. And then tomorrow, I'll get more. Just take it home if you want. And if they didn't have Modelo, I'd buy them Corona, because that's what they liked. And they were happy. As a matter of fact, that gentleman, the foreman from Nicaragua, he gave me a bottle of Nicaraguan rum, just gave it to me. And I didn't, I haven't opened it. I'm not a rum guy, but I have it, which I thought was really nice that he did that. But I didn't think of, they're from another country. I just thought, man, these guys are working their asses off. And you know what they're working on? They're working on a job that Americans don't want to do.
No.
I wouldn't want to do it. It's South Florida. The sun is brutal. Do I want to be up on roofs? No. So you know what? They're doing jobs others don't want to do. Now I'm sure they're getting taken advantage of. Right?
Some probably are.
I'm sure they're getting taken advantage of. I saw the car, because his wife also would work. She wasn't working on the roofs, but she would drive them, go get stuff for them. She was like, I guess, a gopher for the job. Nice lady. She spoke, English. Okay. You could talk to her in English. So certain words she'd struggle with, whatever. But nice lady. And I just saw how hard these people work, doing what nobody wants to do. Go get a young person now. Say, okay, hey, listen, I got a job for you. You're going to do this. Up on what?
Oh, hell no.
What? No way. You can't pay me enough to do that. So they're doing it. That's all I was seeing was how hard these guys are working. But I saw the inspector's frustration. And it's justified because he's coming and doing a job.
Right.
His job to tell them, okay, yeah, I'm signing off on this, or no, there's an issue. Okay, there's an issue now. I need to talk to someone from the contractor. There's no one I can talk to? What that? He was pissed.
Yeah, I can imagine.
He was pissed. He goes, I deal with this all the time, he told me. I deal with this all the time. He goes, there could be 10 guys working a job site. Not one of them speaks English. I'm like, well, you know what? I'll help you out. There are times, listen, frustration. When I moved here, remember I went to return the rental truck. I go to the gas station by my old house, which is not a Hispanic community at all,
Right.
by any stretch. I told a lady, I'm going to leave you my credit card. I have to put gas in the truck, but I don't know how much. And she looked at me and goes, ¿Qué? I said, I'm going to leave my credit card, put gas in, and then come back and pay. ¿Qué? I asked her, you speak English? She goes, sí. Remember?
Yeah.
And then she goes, 18? Remember I told you that? She goes, 18? I said, what? What? She goes, 18? I'm like, okay, where's she getting 18 from? I never mentioned 18. And I said you speak English. She goes, see, 18? I'm like, okay, never mind. I could have spoken to her in Spanish, but you know why I didn't? Because of her attitude. Because of her attitude. Like,
That's one of the issues.
screw you if you don't speak Spanish. No, screw you because you're working here. I'm trying to talk to you, and we are getting nowhere. And it's not my responsibility. I learned Spanish. My parents were not Spanish speaking. I learned your language. You won't learn ours. Now, do I have hatred towards them? No. But can you see how many people would? At the doctor's office, you can't communicate with anyone? At the gas station, you can't communicate with anyone? With workers in your house, you can't communicate with anyone?
It's the employer's fault. They should have people that can communicate with their customers.
I agree. And it also falls on, listen, it also falls on immigrants. Our parents immigrated from another country and had to learn the language. My best friend was from Greece. Family from Greece.
Well, hell, our uncle, who was born in Bristol, Rhode Island, and my grandfather packed up the family and moved them to Portugal right around before the Depression. When he came back, he couldn't speak a word of English.
Yeah. Well, he came back.
When he came back.
When he
After,
came back.
what, 40 years?
Yeah. But my best friend was Greek. It's like a second family to me, my wonderful family. He ended up teaching in a high school in Miami. And he said to me, I came from another country. My family, we all learned English. Because he wasn't born here. He came as a young boy, had to learn English. He's now their teacher, and he said, I'm teaching these kids who barely speak English in high school. And I asked him, hey, where were you born? Hialeah, Miami. And he's like, they're born here. I'm an immigrant. I'm teaching them who barely speak English. Who does it fall on to? It falls on, if you're an immigrant, you learn the language where you live. It's to your advantage.
The more languages you know, the better
more
off
languages you know. Like I said, I want to learn Italian. Actually, when we moved, I found that big box I had with the Italian cassettes.
Italian's not that hard.
Well, no, but you have to make time for it.
It is if you don't speak like Portuguese or Spanish.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful language. To me, it's a beautiful language. You have to make time, of course. But if I move to Germany, I'm going to learn to speak German because I want to communicate with people. I want to talk to people. I want to go to a restaurant, talk to people.
Yeah.
I want to. If I have to work, I know I need to speak the language. Oh, you don't speak German? Well, what are we going to do with you?
We're going to put you
Okay,
someplace
well,
where
washing dishes.
Yeah.
You can go wash dishes in a restaurant. And then when people don't speak the language, you're like, oh, there's inequality. But you're not doing anything either to help yourself. If I could speak 20 languages, I would. I wish I could.
I mean, I speak 3 and understand 2 in written form.
I just, but these things need to be discussed to understand. Oh, these people, they hate immigrants, hate this. A lot of people don't even care until they find themselves in situation after situation after situation where they're dealing with people they can't communicate with. And when it's an important issue, a health issue or a business or whatever, I can't communicate. I'm in the United States and I'm talking to someone that does not speak the language. We're stuck. I'm stuck. It creates hatred. Now, there shouldn't be hatred, but there needs to be an understanding of how these things happen.
Yeah, but don't forget, a lot of people just automatically hate different.
Yeah, because that's the first reaction to everything is hating.
Yeah.
I don't hate someone who comes to this country because they're looking for a decent life. That's all they're trying to do. Look for a decent life. They don't have a choice where they came from. They didn't choose to be in that situation, but they're trying to get out of it. Now, we're going to be back in a few minutes. Again, we're going to take a break because I have more examples to make a point. Make a point about this from personal experiences and other experience. So we'll be right back. All right, we're back. So let's pick up where we left off. So we're talking about the hatred some people have for those that come here from other countries. Now, these people are coming here because they're just looking for a better life. I mean, it's basically what they're doing. Not like Trump and a lot of haters say, oh, they're bad hombres, right? And they're rapists. And that's just ridiculous. Are there bad people coming here? Yeah, but guess what? We already have bad people here that were born here.
Oh, yeah, we got
So,
a ton of bad
I can give you an example. That's what people do. Here's an example. I dated a girl years ago, lived in upstate New York, a little town, a little one-bar town, where she left, her sister left, and she told me, if you stay in this town, you're destined to work your butt off, be poor, manual work, especially farming, and an alcoholic, because the only hobby young people had was drinking.
Yeah, sitting at the bar.
That was their hobby. As a matter of fact, when I was there, a young couple, 2 kids died. Her brother was in a volunteer fire department. I'm laying in bed at the motel there that he ran, or I think he ran. I don't think he owned it. He ran it. And these sirens go off in the middle of the night. I'm thinking, oh my God, we're getting nuked. I mean, this was loud. So I get up. He's jumping into his car and he hauls in his pickup and he hauled butt out of there, and the siren just is going off and off and off. So I asked her, I said, what the hell is going on? She goes, oh, there's
The fire
volunteer fire department, so that's, all the guys, sleeping, whatever, they have to jump in their cars and go wherever. Now these roads here, if you drive off the road in some of these places,
You're
on these
toast.
mountains, you're done. There are no rails, there is no nothing, you're done. So I guess what happened was there were 2 kids, I guess they had been drinking, or at least the young man driving, and they went over the edge or whatever, and they crashed, and 2 I think they were teenagers, died. And so she left there and moved somewhere else for a better life. So did her sister. Left because they knew there's no future here. No future. This is the United States of America. They left. People move for a better life. That's what they do. In Portugal, where our family is from, there are a lot of people moving there from other countries. And you know from where? The United States of America. Americans are moving to Portugal. Why? Better life. Better health care. More affordable. Better quality of life. Live longer. Daily life better than here. People are moving from California.
Yeah, and they're not liking the Californians.
Right, but they're moving from California, selling a shack for $2 million or $1 million something dollars. That's tiny.
Yeah.
Moving there, and now they have money. They can travel. They can go to Spain, England. Not England now, without need a passport.
Anywhere in Europe, just get in the
France.
car,
They have a different lifestyle, a day-to-day lifestyle. So
They have
they're
a life.
even leaving here, not even other countries, but leaving the United States to go to Portugal for a better life. They're not leaving poverty, but they're leaving for a better life. That's what people do. When people come here from other countries, they're looking for a better life. Just like your ancestors did. Just like your ancestors did. But, getting back to the frustration of, I still believe wherever country you live, you should learn that language.
And the culture.
I believe it's a responsibility.
Yeah, and the
I
culture.
also believe it's a benefit to you. If you have children, it's a benefit to your children. It's a benefit to you where if you lose your job, you have a better chance of getting another job. We go to drive-thrus in certain restaurants here.
Oh, it's got ridiculous.
You can't even order.
No.
The person, again, it's management. I've mentioned this before, where they probably have a group of people and the manager goes, okay, who here cannot speak a word of English? Okay, you work the drive-thru, right? That's probably what they do. But it's a responsibility. Is it going to end hatred? Of course it's not going to end hatred. There are rednecks living in bumble crap wherever who hate their neighbor, who's also one of them. You're not going to end hatred. But it's a responsibility, and I can see the frustration because I've been frustrated. I've been able to bail myself out because I'm able to speak their language if I can. If it's a different language that I don't speak, I'm nowhere.
Yeah, like Haitian Creole.
Yeah, I'm nowhere. I can't do anything. But if I can speak their language, yeah, I will. And sometimes I don't. I was at the gas station 3 days ago. The guy in front of me was trying to put gas in his car, but he was trying to speak to, there was a young black lady. He was trying to talk to her, a young black girl, very nice girl. And she's like, I'm sorry, sir, I don't speak Spanish. He was so frustrated with her. He was frustrated with her. Okay? Now, I'm standing right behind him. He had such an attitude, I could have easily stepped in and translated. And you know what I said? No, I'm not doing it. So she asked, does anyone here speak Spanish? No one raised their hands.
I wouldn't.
I could have translated for him, but the guy had such an attitude with her, as if something's wrong with her, for not speaking his language. Does that create anger, frustration? And then I saw him go out to his truck. He had a nice pickup truck. So he's not some guy that just came over here, just got here. He had a nice truck. He had all kinds of jewelry on him. He just doesn't speak English, probably doesn't want to, and demands that you speak his language. And if you don't speak his language, he's going to have an attitude with you.
One of their issues.
We can defend immigrants, and I do, because I defend people looking for a better life. But people like that I'm coming here, I am not going to speak your language, I refuse to learn it, I will not, and you better learn mine, or I'm going to have an attitude with you.
Well,
Anybody want to defend that? You cannot defend that. That should never be defended. It's wrong.
one of the issues is they move or whatever, they congregate in the community where that whole community just speaks Spanish.
Because that's what they demand that.
Right, so they won't learn because they can go to the store, they can go here, they can go, everybody's speaking Spanish.
Exactly.
So they don't care about
Which
learning.
that part is fine. That part is fine, just like you have communities of a
Yeah,
lot
they
of Italians or what. That's all fine.
Yeah.
But if you have a community of a lot of Italian people, for example, they all speak English.
Yeah, you go up north, everybody speaks
They all
English.
speak English.
I mean, they might speak with a Brooklyn accent. all
With an
this
accent,
stuff.
whatever.
You know,
But
whatever.
you go
Yeah.
to a Greek community, they all speak English.
Yeah.
You go to a French community, they all speak English.
Even the old people that came over when they were already, like in their 40s or 50s,
Yeah,
they
may,
at least attempt to.
sure, may have an accent, whatever, but they learn it.
Yeah, they learn it.
They understand. I live here, so I'm going to learn the language.
Right.
Like common sense. Just like I said, for me, if I move to Germany, if I move to France, if I move to anywhere, I'm going to learn that language. I'm just going to because I want to communicate with people. I'm not going to go there with an attitude that, no, I just got here, but you're going to speak my language. And if you're not, I'm going to give you an attitude. No one should defend that. There's one thing about defending immigrants that are coming for a better life. They're escaping, many escaping where they came from, because they know they're screwed if they stay there. How do you criticize that? People have a right, an obligation to do the best they can for themselves and their family. If you don't like it, too bad. They still have that right to look for a better life, and that's what they're trying to do. But once you arrive, whether it's here or any country in the world, you need to try to learn that language. And if you don't, understand you're handcuffing yourself. They're holding themselves back. But to then give you an attitude? No, I'm sorry, that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable, and I will never defend that. I'll defend a lot of people about a lot of things that I will never defend, because our parents were immigrants. Our cousins, aunts, uncles, everybody learned English. Everybody.
Yeah,
So
even the ones that were born here totally forgot it.
So for those that are not family of immigrants, who don't like to hear what you're saying, what I'm saying, but our parents were immigrants. They learned. My best friend from Greece learned, spoke English. Mother spoke English. Father spoke English. Actually, his sister actually moved back to Greece to live a better life in Greece than here. So, like I was saying, my friend who came from Greece as a boy had to learn English, ended up being a teacher in high school teaching kids born here that barely spoke English. Want to make sense of that?
Well, how old was he? Like 7 or something like
Yeah,
that?
7 or 8. I don't remember. He wasn't born here. But
Right.
he had to learn, and now he was their teacher, which he got out of. Thank God for him. Got out of that.
Probably went to the Air Force.
Got out of. No, he didn't go to the Air Force.
Did he?
No. No, he's a pilot, but he
He's
didn't
a
go.
pilot,
to the Air Force.
yeah.
He could gradually, boom, 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 worked his way up. But when a family of immigrants or an immigrant tells you that they're frustrated with people that are also immigrants that refuse to do what you had to, listen, that's credibility right there. For the woke that, oh no, I'm offended. Are you an immigrant? No. Are your parents immigrated? No. I'm just offended. Okay, I don't care. Really don't care. You don't live in my life. My parents had to learn. Family had to learn. Everybody learned. They did. Not a gun to their heads. They understood they had to.
Right.
As a matter of fact, our mom speaking English was an absolute riot.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
It's like Zsa Zsa Gabor. Hilarious. But this is where you have Hatred.
And,
People that are already, they're already preconditioned to hate, right? It's already in them.
If our grandparents hadn't left, she would have been born here.
Yeah,
Their grandmother was pregnant with her when they took off.
yeah. But those people that are already, hatred is already so easy for them. When they encounter situations to where they're dealing with people that they cannot communicate with. And to me, like I said, it's very frustrating. I understand, like this Brazilian gentleman, like I said, he's been here 6 months, but he's going to night school
Hey, he's one
because he
of-
wants to learn English.
Yeah.
Then that roofer from Nicaragua who's been here for 15 years, not a word of English. Not one. Not even hello in English. Not a single word. People can defend that if they want. Why, is he too stupid to learn? No, he's not. He's a nice guy. He's a great guy, actually, a hardworking man. Just chooses to, I'm going to go to stores that speak my language.
Yeah.
If I need insurance, I'm going to go to an insurance agent that speaks my. It's only going to be people that speak my language, and I'm never going to have to learn. Well, congratulations that you choose not to learn anything. Okay, I don't know. That's good. It's a good thing.
It works for some people.
I choose to not learn. It's a choice I've made. I don't want to learn anything. Okay, great. And then bitch, if you lose your job, whatever, you can't go get jobs because you cannot communicate. Now, of course, people can be watching this from different parts of the country. Actually, we have over 165 countries that visit our website. So people can watch this in another country and not understand because of where they live.
No, we even have Ukraine, and they have no internet service.
Yeah, no internet service, but we have Ukrainians going on our website. And the Russians.
And the Russians, yes.
And the
yes,
Russians. The Russian women have the strong vagina.
Yes.
I don't know what that means, by the way.
I don't know what the Russians mean.
But a Russian hearing this will probably go, "Niet,"
Yeah.
especially if his wife's sitting next to him. But we grew up in it. We grew up in South Florida. Like I said, I had two people working on my house, a Russian and a Brazilian. My other house, Haitians, Cubans, you name it. You name it.
Well,
Because it's where we live.
we were in the boat business.
In the boat business, yeah.
All the fiberglass guys, they're all Spanish speaking.
All Spanish speaking. That's where we had to learn Spanish.
Be able to communicate.
Now,
with
these
people.
gentlemen came from mostly Cuba,
Yeah.
came
Some
here-
from Ecuador.
Ecuador, yeah,
But mostly from Cuba.
but worked their butts off. They came here to work.
Yeah.
They came here to work.
Well, we had a couple of guys from the Mariel Boat Lift.
Yeah, yeah.
They worked their ass off.
Yeah, they came here and they worked hard. Now they lived in Miami and drove up to where we were.
Right.
So they lived in an area. They shopped everything where they didn't have to learn
They
English.
didn't have to learn.
Which is if that's where you live, fine. But isn't learning the country's language an advantage? Isn't it learning another language? Isn't that an advantage, especially the language that you would need?
Especially
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you want to, if you decide you want to go travel the country and see the country.
Yeah, or you have you're more.
I mean, if you're content in your little community where you don't leave it for anything.
right,
then-
and that's fine too. That's it. Free will. People have a right to do whatever they want. But this is what creates hatred. I think people have a different attitude when they're speaking to someone. Let's say it's at work or whatever. That person has an accent, but they can talk to them, right? They can accomplish the mission.
Yeah, they can communicate.
You know, I'm dealing with my insurance agent or whatever. My insurance agent or this person, my doctor or my doesn't speak a word of English. I cannot communicate on something that's important to me
Yeah.
in my language, in our country's, in the nation's language. Yes, that creates hatred. But if the person does speak, even with an accent, but you know what? We got it done. Actually, it was a nice person. It was helpful. She was helpful. Or he was helpful. Yeah, we got the job done. Different mentality. But when I feel like the foreigner. This is what happens when, depending on where you live, what part of the country, where you feel like you're the foreigner. There you go. There's anger. There's hatred. Racism, especially, like I said, for people that are already, listen, drop of a coin. They'll hate anything
Oh,
right
they'll
away.
hate anything. If it's different, they'll hate it.
Anything right away. You're giving them the ammo. You're giving them the ammo to hate. And again, from us, our family had to learn English, and they didn't have to because they were told you have to. No, they knew they had to. It's like common sense. It's just common sense. Could you imagine if you and I moved to France? We don't speak French, but we're both going to try to learn as quickly as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
As quickly as possible. I want to go to a restaurant. I want to be able to speak to people.
I mean, I'm already halfway there. I can say shit in French.
Yeah.
And Italian and German and a few other languages.
Yeah, there are a few things I can say in several languages as well. And I wish I knew more than just bad words.
What people don't realize is that the more languages you speak, the easier it is to learn another one.
Right, and that's not
You
just
speak two, the third's easier, the fourth is easier.
and that's not just foreigners, that's Americans too. When you
Yeah.
when you gather your information, especially politics in this country, from one place, one source, that's it. You don't research to see if it's true. You don't nothing. You hear it, oh, fact. Like the insurrection, the hearings with Trump, where he was told by everyone, you lost, you can't. He wanted Pence to overthrow the thing.
Right.
He was told you can't do it, it's illegal. And then he called Pence the P word, a wimp, all of this.
Yeah.
And then he still has followers. How do you have followers? This is a person who wanted to be dictator, didn't want to leave, wanted to break all the, whatever it took for me to stay in power. Boy, doesn't that sound familiar? It's like you need to replace the stars and stripes with bananas.
Yeah.
This is now the Banana Republic, the new Banana Republic. This guy does not want to leave, and we support him in that.
Speaking of banana republics, in Portugal there was a revolution in 74, 75, whatever that was.
74.
74. The military overthrew the dictatorship.
Yeah.
It was started basically by captains, and they were tired of the wars in Africa and all this stuff. But anyway, they overthrew the government.
The military.
The military. 4 people died, and that was because they were killed by a secret police.
The secret police. The political police.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, it was according to this movie. They picked this general to be the figurehead after everything was taken care of, and he walks into the
That's right. He was going to offer them all promotions.
all promotions, and one guy goes,
We don't want promotions.
we don't want promotions, and this is not a banana republic.
This is not a banana republic.
And if you don't, and I guess they basically told him, you're going to follow what we want, not what you want.
No, I think we had said is, we're not finished.
We're not, yeah, exactly.
The revolution is not done.
Yeah,
So in other words, if this guy stepped out of line, they're going to keep fighting.
we're going to keep fighting, yeah.
The military overthrew a fascist government. Usually it's the other way around. Usually the military
Usually
takes
it's the other
over,
way around,
and it's now a military regime.
Yeah.
They wanted to hand the power back to the people, is what they did. In this country, we have a guy which we know tried to break every rule he can to stay in power, who talked about being president the next 12, 16 years, said it publicly in rallies. Remember?
The sad part is there was one, Huckabee was trying to figure out how to do it.
His third term.
Somebody should have known better.
How, when we see people coming from other countries here for a better life, leaving banana republics, how we have people here that want to turn this into a banana republic? You have veterans for him, who he called suckers. The ones that fought in Vietnam were suckers.
Yeah.
But those veterans, many of them for him. The police, a lot of police for him. Did he show any regard for police? A lot of religious people.
Who should know better?
He picked Mike Pence because Mike Pence is a right-wing Christian to get their votes. And then when he said, what did he say? When they want to hang Pence, he deserves it.
Yeah.
He deserves it. Hey, Mike Pence. Good job, buddy. Good job of kissing ass for 4 years. And then the guy whose ass you were kissing said, yeah, you deserve to be hung. You guys are wonderful. Banana Republic, you got one right here. Thank God for those that fight.
Certainly getting there.
Thank God for those that fight. Women's rights. Women's rights. It was a chore to give women the right to vote in this country.
Yeah.
It was a war to do away with slavery.
Oh, but they'll say it wasn't about slavery.
No, it was economic freedom.
Yeah, but if you look at the articles of succession from some of these states, it specifically mentions slavery.
We got a little bit off track here, but it kind of goes together, right? When people come here because of banana republics, where things happen that are just, oh my God, ridiculous. They have no future. They're for their kids or for whatever. They come here because they're doing what they can to better their lives. And then you have people here that want to turn this country into a banana republic, supporting a guy who basically wanted to be dictator forever, and
And then
support him.
pass it on to his kids.
And pass, of course, just pass it on to his kids. He owns everything here. For those of you that gave money to him, where do you think that money went? Where do you think that money went? Oh, and aren't his kids not allowed to run any non-profit charities anymore?
Yeah, they were because of the Trump Foundation.
Right, because they're skimming and scamming.
Yeah, they were.
But for those that graduated from Trump University,
So you got your degree.
I'm sure everything there worked out very well. So let's support that. Let me tell you, folks. Yeah, last episode, I think the last episode we did is, what was it, depression, and
Nonsense.
where I said, in nonsense, and I said I just have no patience for stupidity because I've battled depression my whole life. I just don't have the patience for it. I don't. And you know what? That's stupidity. Hating people because they're coming here to better their lives because they don't have a choice. That's stupidity. The ignorance, the hatred, it's all stupidity. And you know what? It's also unhealthy. If you're full of hatred, it's not just in your mind that's full of hatred. It's your body. It's poison. It's unhealthy. It's unhealthy. And you know what? When you have that stroke or heart attack or cancer or whatever, maybe you look back at your life at all that hatred and say, what did it get me? It was a waste of time. It was all a waste of time.
Or you get something that's curable, you go to the hospital, you end up with a doctor that's not from this country and he cures your disease.
And black and gay.
And black and gay.
And saves you.
Yeah.
Maybe that happens. Or maybe that good Samaritan that is a color or a race that you don't like helped you out, bailed you out, saved you. Because that's happened millions of times.
Look at Archie Bunker when he got that blood transfusion.
Yeah. All right, folks. Well, Shannon popped her head in. She said she wasn't in the mood, which is something that a lot of married women say about certain things. Oh, I'm not in the mood.
About everything.
To me, married women.
Hey, you want to cook dinner? I'm not in the mood.
Yeah, it's about other things too. They're not in the mood for. When they're single, they're in the mood like there's no tomorrow. Now, once they get married, they're not in the mood anymore. It's
Right, but once they get divorced, they're in the mood.
terrible.
again.
It's just, it's terrible to do something. I don't even want to talk about it. Think about it. It's awful. So we'll be back next week with Shannon. But again, this episode was not about hatred. It's about anti-hatred. But it's about also responsibility. You know what? Learn. Don't demand that others have to do what you want. When you move, when you migrate to another country, you now have assumed a responsibility to learn. It's what you should do, what you're supposed to. And for those that are full of hate, hey, there's nothing we can do, right? Hate is what it is. We don't hate, but we have expectations, and I think those people that migrate here should have expectations for themselves as well. So take care, visit our website. It's depression-youarenot-alone.com, and you can follow us on Twitter as well. And if you can give us a like on YouTube and subscribe to our channel, it is free. Thanks so much,
And
folks.
later on down the line, we don't know how soon that's going to be. We're going to be doing live podcasts where
Maybe we can do my birthday next month.
maybe where you can comment either by voice or written comments.
Yeah, and if
But
you'd
we'll
like to
see.
be, and if you'd like to be a guest on a podcast, reach out to us. You can email us, go through the website, and we can work it out. You don't have to come here, you know,
Yeah, obviously.
obviously, and reach out to us, and you can be a guest on our website and participate as well. All right. So thanks so much. Take care and be well, everyone.
Oh, and on the website tomorrow we have an article about losing my father that Lou wrote here.
Oh, the article I
read that.
wrote that losing my father. It'll be on our website. Bye bye.